Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to IIT Bombay Techfest presents the online lecture series. My name is 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 congratulate IIT Bombay on their amazing initiative. Techfest is the annual science and technological festival of IIT Bombay. And during this global crisis, they launched an online lecture series to provide people with opportunity to constructively utilize their time by gaining knowledge and inspiration at the safety of their homes. TechFest has also received patronages from UNICEF, Make in India, and has undertaken social initiatives pan-India, making its way to the Guinness Book of World Record. Some of the personalities who have graced TechFest in the past are late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, Vidya Balan and Vin Sir, father of the internet, and many such esteemed personalities. And the dignitary who's going to grace TechFest with his presence today is co-founder and vice president of product management of LinkedIn, Mr. Alan Blue. The gentleman is responsible for LinkedIn's content, community, and communications, including products such as LinkedIn Today, Signal, homepage, groups, and polls. Prior to LinkedIn, Alan designed products and marketing programs at PayPal and was part of the founding team at socialnet.com. Alan also serves as an advisor for several small startups in and out of the technology space. Before entering technology, Alan lectured in drama at Stanford University. Mr. Alan Blue, you are dynamic as much as you're an inspiration. Welcome to TechFest, Asia's largest science and technological festival. How are you doing?
I am doing well, and good evening to everybody in India.
And Alan, how does it feel being at the TechFest online lecture series?
Well, it's always great. I think the program is fantastic. One of the things that we've noticed at LinkedIn is that people have had to learn a lot about how to navigate the lockdown from their homes. We've seen many hundreds of thousands of people take courses on LinkedIn Learning to learn how to work from home. And some people, including the people listening to this, are being smart about how they're spending that time. And they're learning new things. So they emerge from the lockdown with a few new ideas.
Absolutely well said, Alan. It's important to learn something new every day. And you have quite a fan following, Alan, I must say. As soon as people got to know that you were going to be on TechFest, a lot of questions started pouring in. So are we ready for it?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Mr. Blue, tell us, how do you grow a company or business in its early days?
So my knowledge is almost entirely in the world of the consumer internet. So if you're building, a retail company or a manufacturing company, I'm not sure how valuable my advice is going to be.
No.
In the world of the internet, I heard it said just a couple days ago, as a matter of fact. My good friend 𝗔𝗹𝗹𝗲𝗲, who is who used to work with at LinkedIn, and he worked in the Obama White House as well as a data scientist, chief data scientist for the U.S. Talked about dreaming in years, planning in months, executing in weeks, and experimenting in days. And that is, I think, a good rundown in a single sentence of the way to think about a business. You need to have a clear idea of where you're going, but you need to be experimenting and willing to listen to what the market is actually telling you about your product. So don't lose track of your big dream. Don't lose track of the place that you're actually going, but really listen to what's happening. And then as you're starting out a company, you need to think about the one or two people in your company who are going to matter most. And so, for instance, if you're doing a company which is in the enterprise software world, a head of sales really matters at the very beginning. But if you're working in the consumer software world, a head of sales is not very important because you're not going to need that person for a long time. So pick the one or two people who matter and make sure you get those hires right. And then everybody else, you try to do all the other stuff that you need to do. You try to do all of it as well as you can, but make sure you get the stuff that really matters right.
That was quite informational, Alan, and very well said. Uh, the whole life discussed in one line that you mentioned that your friend said to you. And I belong to the entertainment industry, and you were a lecturer at drama at Stanford University. So how was that experience? How did the transition from drama to being the co-founder of LinkedIn happen?
So I attended Stanford way back in the late 80s. And then I sort of like transitioned pretty much directly into lecturing at the university. One of the people who I had met back in the day doing drama had actually left drama entirely, had gone on to work in what was then the nascent technology industry. He met my co-founder, Reid Hoffman, who was my co-founder at SocialNet and at LinkedIn, obviously. And when they needed somebody creative, this is 1997, they were starting up SocialNet. When they needed somebody creative, David said, "Hey, I know somebody who's creative." I always use it as a lesson about how important relationships are, and how valuable it is to really look after the people who you know and meet. Everybody who's attending IIT right now is building some of the strongest and most valuable relationships you will have in your life. The group of people you're meeting right now, take care of them. I mean, see how you can help them. Inevitably, networks are strongest when people in the network are helping each other out. So do that proactively, and who knows, maybe those relationships will come back and somebody will reach out for your help when you're looking for a job or when they're starting a company.
Well said, Alan. It's important to network. And as you mentioned, can you tell us a bit about your product design philosophy?
Certainly, but before I leave the previous topic, I just want to draw a quick differentiation between networking and building your relationships. Yes, networking usually means going and meeting new people with the intention of being able to call on them in the future. Building relationships means I met you because we're working together, or we're in a class together, or we're in university housing together, whatever it might be, and building those relationships. It's not about meeting somebody with a goal, but rather it's about really caring for the people who are right around you right now. Those are going to be the strongest relationships as you go forward. When you meet new people, sometimes you get lucky. Networking, as it's usually understood, is less valuable. So anyway, about product velocity. So right now, my role at LinkedIn is looking at, and you got to remember, LinkedIn now is a company with almost 17,000 employees. So it's very different than the company I was talking about a little while ago. But with 17,000 employees, one of the roles that I play today is trying to hold everything together into a single product strategy. We have so many people. We have such a lot. We have 8,000 people in our R&D group, and that's a lot of people to try to coordinate. So the question there is, how do you hold them all together so they can all essentially work in concert? So that's my main job today. So I think for me, the key understanding, which comes from my experience about building products, is that I found that the most important thing was having a really clear idea of how the world of the product is actually going to work. So this is like essentially the strategy. So let me tell you how LinkedIn works.
Yes,
LinkedIn is a set of marketplaces. So basically you've got, say, a hiring marketplace where you've got people who are looking for jobs, you got people who are trying to hire people, and LinkedIn is the place where they come together. And similarly, you've got people who are trying to buy products, and you've got people who are trying to sell and market their products, and LinkedIn is the place where they come together. And you've got people teaching courses, and you've got people who want to learn from those courses, and LinkedIn is the place where they come together. So that understanding that we are in fact a marketplace where these groups come together. Now granted, it's in a network, so it's a somewhat different thing than, say, eBay. But that understanding of where the value comes from in the system is the core of LinkedIn's strategy. So long as we have that strategy in mind, then we have lots of, if you will, guardrails product managers to understand what they need to build.
What has to happen,
At the very beginning of LinkedIn, we had a slightly different understanding of the strategy because we were in our growth stage. So at the very beginning, we knew that to build a marketplace, you needed to have people and people pay for that product, say pay to post job listings. That marketplace needed to work. So basically, they needed to find people in the network, and they needed to be searching in the network. To make that happen, you needed a big network. So at the very beginning, we all had a really clear idea of what we were trying to achieve. And that really clear idea was grow the network. Because we had to get to a certain size before people were to start finding value out of it. And that was so clarifying to everybody who worked at the company. Everybody in the company worked on growth. And that meant that we were able to grow. We kept our eye on the growth ball long enough to get to 2 million members in the network. This was way back in 2005. And once we reached 2 million members, people who were interested in recruiting started coming to us and asking if they could pay to get access to the entire network. So that's when you know you've got the right size. But the key point is the clarity of what you're trying to achieve as a company. That I think is central to the way sort of I think about building products. And we can talk about product design too, if you'd like, but the key piece is the clarity of strategy. If you've got that, then you may have a future.
So you have to have a clear vision. Absolutely brilliant, Alan. And in this fast-paced world where several companies die and new ones emerge at the same time, what are the global opportunities available to us? And how do you think we should, the IIT people, IIT Bombay students should plan a career in the coming future?
Well, the future is a much hazier place than it was because of the pandemic. So the pandemic has made some potentially interesting alterations in the way people should think about their careers. So one of the things which I think, and you've seen it in the news as people have made announcements and so forth about the way they think about the composition of their workforce going forward. If I'm Facebook, because I'll mention them, and this goes for LinkedIn as well, but they made announcements about this, that people would be able to work at home at least until the end of the year, and that's LinkedIn's stance as well. And some companies are saying, well, people will be able to work at home as long as they want, far into the future, because we've proven that working from home actually works. So that may have opened up, at least in our industry, which is to say, technology industry, it may have opened up an opportunity for people to work from all different places in the world. So the real question for me about that is how do you match with a company which is maybe thousands of miles away? I mean, if I'm based in the US and I want to go work at a company in India, I don't know anybody. So how do I apply for that job? How does the team in India know that I'm a good person? So we think about this a lot at LinkedIn. So I think one of the key pieces for me, like I said earlier, building relationships with the people who are right around you is really important. But I think this is an opportunity for people to look for, especially mediated by the internet. It's an opportunity for people to be able to say, hey, could I go collaborate on something? So presumably a lot of people are writing software at IIT. So are there collaborators? Are there projects I can work on which are internationally distributed? Can I contribute to the Linux operating system? Can I contribute to 1,000 other open source, getting easier and easier to teach?
So here it is.
Wow, well, it's a huge question. I mean, all things considered, but different governments are handling the situation in different ways. So extremely challenging. I think so here are things that I know for sure. One is that demand for your skills, people who are graduating technology skills, there should be an advantage of additional things which are outside of your normal area of focus. That's a hard thing to ask of a lot of people, though, because especially if it's being fully self-directed. I will say that there's one of the good things about working at LinkedIn Learning is that we've learned a lot about how learning programs work around the world. And there's a lot of really good online education available right now, and a lot of it is free. So long as you have a connection to the internet, which not everyone does, but so long as you have a connection to the internet, you have an opportunity to actually take on some of those new skills, or at least explore new things. Yeah, I mean, happily, in the world we live in right now, the work you've done in the past doesn't need to be the thing which defines the work you do in the future.
Absolutely well said. Thank you for that, Alan. And it was quite insightful. And now one final question. What is the one advice would you like to give the young and inspiring minds who are viewing this session? A tough one, right?
Well, I have received good advice, and I feel like I feel like, so I'll go back to this. So not everyone, but many of the people who train in technology and are going to go on to work at technology companies, you are going to be, you're going to be economically privileged in your communities because the jobs you're doing are in high demand, and because you are people who are basically going to be in the part of the economy which is growing and thriving, and many of your neighbors are going to be part of the economy which is shrinking or suffering, especially in the times of lockdowns and coronavirus, and in the future in the times of climate change. So one of the things that I recommend, or that I think is important to remember, is that even though you may not feel it right now, take your don't stop developing your economic strength. Don't stop advancing your companies or founding your companies. Don't stop growing your skills, and don't stop getting paid more, and all those things. But do those things understanding that you also have a responsibility to the people who are around you. I feel like different cultures handle this differently, but I believe that there's that a sense of service to other people is a valuable thing for people who are moving into a world where they will be comparatively more powerful and influential. And this takes me back to the very first point that I made during this conversation, which is about relationships. It's about relationships. So the relationships you form are about service to the people who are around you. But the best way to strengthen a relationship with someone is to help them with something. And that will serve you not only in the responsibility you have for people who are around you, but it also serve you in your friendships. It will serve you in your family relationships, and it will serve you in your career.
And that is what is important. Love, friendship, and relationships, that will go a long way. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Alan Blue. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
I did. Thank you very much. I appreciate you listening, and hopefully people found it interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And also thank you, Techfest, for inviting me to moderate this full power session. It was quite a ball. And on behalf of IIT Bombay, I would like to thank the event managers of Techfest, that is 𝗟𝗶𝗲𝗲 and 𝗟𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗁, and the entire team of Techfest 2020-21 for their exemplary work. This was IIT Bombay Techfest Presents, the online lecture series. And I am Roshan Shetty signing off. Stay safe, stay full power, and thank you so much again, Mr. Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.